Yes, yes. Namaste, everyone. As always, it's my delight to appear before the audience of Meditation and Study Circle, Bengaluru. And I'm always happy to realize this is a platform that has been running from 1979, so 43 years. That is not easy. And it has been going on so well, bringing a number of resource persons, including their own resource persons, Vasudev and Vani, and making it available to all. There's so much of good stuff, so much of healthy material for all of us to live better, reach higher levels of consciousness through spiritual exposure and related practices. I am indeed very glad to talk about Pranava and its versatile applications. Recently, in Suvarnamukhi Samskriti Dhama, which most of you know is on Kanakapura Road to the south of Bangalore, we had a 6-day retreat on Pranava, Alpha and Omega of Om was the title we conceived, and some 25 people attended it with much involvement, much enthusiasm. We had the honor of having Shri Narasimha Prabhu come over on the last day and bless all with a very energetic talk on the essentials of Vedanta. He also answered some questions from members of the audience. Alpha and Omega of Om was the retreat, and we held some 10 lectures. I myself don't know what I spoke for 10 lectures. Today, just for one lecture, I am a little not sure whether I have enough material. Anyhow, Om will protect us, Om will guide us. Om actually is the intelligence inside us. It is the intelligence running this whole universe. So here we are to talk about Pranava and its versatile applications. Pranava etymologically means prakarshena, nuyate, which means stuyate, is praised. Who is praised? The Supreme Truth is best praised, best pointed out by no other name than Om. Om is that sound by which the highest reality, Brahman or Parameshwara, is best shown, best indicated. Prakarshena, atyuttama prakarena, Bhagavan, Ishvaraha, Brahmava, nuyate, stuyate, nirdishyate, iti pranavaha. Though a little boy whose name was Pranava told me when I asked him, what does your name mean? He just smiled and looked left and right, then said, my name is Pranava. And Pranava means pray now. Pray now? All right. That can be at another meaning. Pray now, Pranava. And another guy said to me, I asked, what is Om? He said, I am Om. I said, my God, here is a man who says he is Om. I was about to bow down before him. But then he said, let me clarify what I mean by I am Om. I said, what? O-M, Om. I am Om. I am an ordinary man. Ah, this is sublime to the ridiculous. And I again had a laugh. Now, Pranava, which is Om, seriously, is essentially a sound. It's essentially and primarily a mystical sound. It's a very lofty mystery. You and I approach it with faith. But this faith is not blind faith. We have reason to believe that mantras have power, and there can be some mantra which is Om here, which could be having maximum power. So before I enter into a few more points, which are also shown in the form of some simple slides, I will speak 5 minutes or maybe less on what is a mantra. For the Vedic sounds are mantras. While it is good to know the meanings of mantras, the power of mantras is such, whether you know the meaning or not, it will have quite a lot of effect. If you know the meaning, if you intellectually also connect with the mantra's meaning, so much better. So, sound, mantra, mananat trayate iti mantra. If we repeat a mantra and applying our mind to the sound of the mantra, that mantra will protect us. Mananat, japat, dhyanadva, trayate, rakshati, avativa. It protects us. How can a sound do anything to us? In our theories of creation in the Vedas, from Brahman, which is one without a second, first came Akasha. And the sound, the quality, the attribute, the guna of Akasha is Shabda. Therefore, as I will quote later also, Sri Krishna says, Pranavaha Khe. Khe means in Akasha. I am Om in Akasha. So in space, which is the primordial element to come out from Brahma, the essential attribute is sound, and Om is the best sound. Now, in Seattle, the state of Washington, in the United States, 100 years or so ago, something happened which astonished scientists. When a bunch of soldiers walked on that bridge, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, to their shock and to others' surprise, that bridge started vibrating, and it vibrated so much it collapsed. All the soldiers had a nice bath in the river below. Hopefully that was a holy river. In Kannada we have a saying, Sankamurdalle Snana. Somebody had no time for taking a bath in a holy river, but one day when he was going on a bridge upon it, the bridge broke. He said, okay, this is a good chance that God thrust on me to take a bath. That's the meaning of that saying. So here, the soldiers, no one died. They swam and they survived. Everyone was okay. Then the scientists found out that that bridge, which otherwise had taken 3 times the load than the combined weight of these soldiers, broke that day because the sound of left, right, left, right, left, right, that sound had a fundamental frequency which matched with, as a sheer coincidence, it matched with the natural frequency of the bridge. Physics says to us, anything has its own fundamental natural frequency. Everyone remembers high school physics. Two tuning forks, one of them is made to vibrate, another is not in touch with the first one. The second one starts vibrating, provided its natural frequency is either the same or a multiple of the first tuning fork. So the tuning forks example you and I had done in high school. So that is called resonance. Resonance is the analogy I am giving. I am not saying literally all the mantras, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or the longer ones, Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Purvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshi Amamritat Mrityunjaya Mantra. I am not saying these sounds literally act as the resonance in physics, but as an analogy, the sounds do something to our system and we deep inside resonate with that vibration, and it can lead to awakening hidden energies, cleansing us, making us purer, making us more single-pointed. Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata are the benefits of mantra japa. Against this backdrop of how the word Pranava came, how Om is the highest mantra, how mantras can actually protect us, help us go upward, we will now begin to see a few more points. So we salute all the great rishis, and this slide mentions in the last century, in fact Sri Ramakrishna was in the 19th century. So in the last 2 centuries, these two great champions of bhakti and jnana interestingly made the same statement in their dialogues. Sri Ramakrishna, you will find this said in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, said all the Vedas are contained in the Gayatri, and Gayatri is contained in Om. And in the 20th century, Sri Ramana Maharshi said exactly the same. You will find it in Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Therefore, this Om being an extraordinary, sacred, mystical sound is endorsed by very great masters, illumined saints. Next one. So, where are the applications? Bhagavad Gita says one of the very important applications is where you and I are very concerned. No matter how much we try, our life again and again goes for a tailspin. Wrong things happen at our hands. Life gets stressed, life gets messed up. So one question anyone who is serious asks is, no matter what happened to me, is there something that I can do at the time of dying which will ensure that I proceed to higher levels? It's in the 8th chapter, Ashtama Adhyaya, that Sri Krishna gives extensive guidance. Prayana Kale. Prayana is not from Bengaluru to Hasana or from Chennai to Hyderabad. Prayana Kala is at the time of dying. In that context, Sri Krishna goes into several verses. Prayana Kalecha Manasachalena bhaktya yukto yoga bhalena chaiva, and so on. And it's in the 13th verse, which we have quoted here. He says, one has to repeat, if not loudly, in one's mind, Om iti ekaksharam brahma. Think of God with Om. Om ityekaksharam brahma vyaharan mam anusmaran yaprayati tyajan deham sayati paramam gatim. So one application is at that very important phase, the last part of life at the time of dying. It goes without saying that in order that we may repeat Om and meditate on Om at the time of dying, we got to start the practice today, here and now. Then only we will be able to do it. Likewise, another application, all these are applications if you give a little thought to it. It's not just the glorification of Om. In the 7th chapter, Sri Krishna says, please see me everywhere in a very essential manner as the very basis. Like he says in the 7th chapter, like a thread holds together precious stones, pearls, sutre manigana iva. I hold together everything in this universe. In that chapter, in the 8th verse, he says, Pranavaha sarva vedeshu. In all the Vedas, running through mantras of different kinds, I am Pranava. And in 17th chapter, again, he makes a explicit reference to applying Om. He says from time immemorial, people, that is practitioners, performers of yajna, yaga, havana, homa, various kinds of meditation, they all have been using Om. Om tat saditi nirdeshaha brahmanaha tribida smritaha brahmanastena yajnascha, sorry, vedascha yajnascha vihita pura. Brahmanas, Vedic scholars, Vedaha, all the sacred portions of the holy books, Yajnaha, rituals, all of them primarily used Om. Of course, two alternatives are also mentioned. Tat and then Sat. Three ways. Say Om, say Tat, say Sat. Any of them. Om Tat Saditi Nirdeshaha Trividaha Brahmanaha. Brahman is the supreme truth. In this way, in a number of our activities, including Laukika, worldly operations, it is highly advised that we may step back, say Om a few times. Then we will be able to come out with wiser and better response to the situation. Next one, please. We will now see several quotes from the Upanishads. Upanishads also are related to both dharma and moksha. Depends on how capable or fit we are. There is a pond of very good drinkable water. If we take a half a liter vessel, that's what we get. If we take a 10-liter vessel, we get more. So, if we are less advanced, as most of us are, it is dharma that we receive from the Upanishads. If we are tivra mumukshus, shamadamadi sampannas, it is moksha that we will receive. Nachiketa, who had great vairagya, viveka vairagya. Many of us in our 70s and 80s do not have even 1/10 of the vairagya that little 14-year-old boy had. Nachiketa insists on knowing the supreme truth. And Yama says, Etadalambanam shreshtam, Etadalambanam param, Etadalambanam natva yoyadichasi tasya tat. There is this mantra. Nachiketa, I will tell you the way to getting whatever you want. Yo yat ichchati tasya tat bhavati. That is the understanding. And the way to go is take the support of Om. Alambana means support. If you are having some difficulty in walking, you take the support of a stick probably, or somewhere else, something else. Alambana makes you do what otherwise you are finding difficult to do. Etadalambanam shreshtam. And there are a couple of mantras where Yama praises Om in unparalleled ways. Now, taking another Upanishad, please note it's all application. Who doesn't want to, gather one's energies, walk on the path of dharma with more, focus? Generally, we find we slip from dharma again and again. If you want to gather energies and walk properly, take the support of Om. In Taittiriya Upanishad, we have a very nice mantra. Many people do not know that it is about Omkara, but it is indeed on Omkara. If you see Shankara's commentary, Adi Shankara clearly says this mantra is for japa. This mantra is, upon doing japa, it gives to us great medha, great ability to grasp Vedic messages and to act upon them. In modern times, our human brain has gone so weak when it comes to Adhyatma. It may be sharp in some subject of computer science or physics or economics or history. But when it comes to handling oneself, alas, people in this Kali Yuga have gone down. In order to gather, it is said, this is a very sweet mantra, Yas Chandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha Chandobhyodhyamritaat Sambabhuva Samendro Medhaya Srinotu Amritasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshanam Jihva Me Vishruvam Brahmana Koshosi Medhaya Pihitaha Shrutam Me Gopaya. There are wonderful thoughts here. O Omkara. This mantra addresses Omkara. And who is Omkara? Omkara is Chandasam Rishabha. It's the very cream of Vedas. And it is called, therefore, Indra. Not Indra, the king of gods. Indra here means the most powerful entity or being. Samam Indraha Medhaya Pranotu. May I hold Amritasya Dharanaha. May I hold immortality in me by Jnana. Jnana Devatu Kaivalyam. And in an all-encompassing manner, the mantra says, bless me, O Omkara, with a fit body, with good ability to hold spiritual insights in me. And lastly, there is a punch. You are indeed the sheath of the supreme truth, but worldly wisdom. The word Medha can also mean street smartness. Brahmana koshosi medhaya pihitaha. You are covered, you are hidden, very much like Ishavasya says. A gold lid hides the face of truth. So that is Yaschandasam Rishabha Omkara. And in that very Shikshavalli, In the 16th mantra, there is yet another, which is a little bit on a lower level, referring to various actions to be performed during performance of a yajna. It is said that Om is used for signaling very many steps or actions in a Vaidika yajna. Om iti Brahma, Om iti Dagam Sarvam, Om ityetadanukriti hasmava, apyo shravayetya shravayantī, Om iti samani gayanti, Ogam shomiti shastrani shagam santi, Om ityadvaryo pratigaram pratigrinati, Om iti Brahma prasauti, Om ityagnihotramanujanati, Om iti Brahmana pravakshannaha, Brahmopapnavaniti, Brahmaivopapnoti. The chant also is very elevating, and what it means is, in a yajna, there are various stages, phases, action plans. Everywhere, someone who has to give an approval just says Om. When you say Om, it's approval. Somewhere else, again, another Om might be to instruct on specific, put the offering in fire now. And towards the end, it is said, when a spiritual seeker wants to really get closer to Brahma, he just says Om, 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 and Brahma eva apnoti, says the last line. So, Om is praised at lots of places in the Upanishads. We'll see a couple of more Upanishads now. Next slide. So we have Kaivalya Upanishad talks about Uttara Arani, Adhara Arani. Two pieces of wood are brought to friction because one is kept stationary, another is rotated so that it rubs against the lower cup-shaped piece, and the upper one is Uttara Arani. Sparks of fire are produced. That is a ritual in Vedas, Vedic ritual. That is used as an analogy. The mantra 1.11 in Kaivalya Upanishad of Atharva Veda says, Atmanam aranim krutva pranavam cha uttararanim. Make yourself the lower cup-shaped piece of wood. Make Omkara, Pranava as the upper piece. And let there be a friction between Om and you. So what is his meaning? What does he mean? That is, as you study Om, as you recite Om, as you employ Om in many of your spiritual practices. You see, Satya Sai Baba advised his devotees, morning, freshen up and repeat Om 21 times. Our Swami Chinmayananda in the 1950s, wherever he went, would get up early in the morning, and in the room given to him in some host's house, people would hear saying Om loudly. So for a short period, Swamiji was called Om Swami. Later it was withdrawn because he was morning 4:30, he would be reciting Om a number of times. So Om being recited can bring about that spark of new insights. You see what mistakes you have been doing. You will clearly see what you ought to do now in your future situations. Then there is, as the picture also shows, a mantra of Mundakopanishad. Pranavo dhanuhu sharohi atma. Sharohi atma, you yourself. Your mind becomes the arrow. Therefore, this picture I chose from internet because what is special in this picture is the man himself is riding on the arrow. So when the arrow hits the target, in this picture, the man also goes and meets with the target. You and I merge with Brahma. Pranavo dhanusharo hyatma. So the bow is not seen here, but it is the bow that makes an arrow go fast and with great force to a great long distance. Otherwise, if you are taking the arrow in hand and throwing, how far will it go? What effectiveness will it have? Therefore, Omkara Japa, Omkara Dhyana can make us move towards the highest goal of human life very effectively. Then you have Mandukya, which is very profound. The very first mantra of Mandukya says, Om iti etadaksharam idam sarvam. Entire universe is Om only. You need to have the eyes to see. It's all Om. And it is said, Bhutam Bhavat Bhavishyad iti Omkara eva. And then Mandukya Upanishad goes further to talk about how U and represent entire Jagrada Avastha and the Abhimani over there, entire Swapna and the entity experiencing Swapna, entire deep sleep, which is actually the pure self only, and Om is the pure self. And the seventh mantra actually is mind-boggling, dazzling mantra. In the seventh mantra, I won't go into all parts of it. Mandukya Upanishad says, this Om is the truth of your existence, is the truth of the entire universe. It is neither consciousness as we know it, neither some unconsciousness which we might imagine. The is na anta pradnam, na bahish pradnam, na ubayata pradnam, na prajnanaganam, na pradnam, na apradnam. Very mind-boggling. Adrishtam, avyavaharyam, and prapanchopashamam, shantam, shivam, advaitam. Om can take us to that advaita anubhava by proper practice and proper study. We go further in a couple of mantra in slides. Let's go to the next slide now. Yeah, this is last slide from my side. There are two more slides where I am giving you a reference to a very wonderful book on Om. But before that, Ishavasya in the 17th mantra goes, Om Kritagam Smara, Krato Smara, Kritagam Smara. There is a line. In the beginning, there is Om. Kenopanishad doesn't mention Om explicitly, but when Indra stands dumbfounded, when that Yaksha in the story disappears, he is puzzled. That is when Uma Parvati, Mother Parvati, comes in a very brilliant form and says to him, what you saw before in the form of a Yaksha, some very resplendent, huge figure, was no other than God. God wanted you to learn how to be humble. So Uma, U-M-A, if you slightly change the spelling in English, A-U-M, that is Om. Therefore, Uma Haimavati refers to Omkara. Friends, now I'll show you quickly two slides where I myself got to know 2 days back. A wonderful book is available. Let's go to the next slide. And that is called Om Mala. And a picture of a mala is shown there. Om Mala. So, a Japamala has 108 beads, chanting beads. In this, the author has given 109 articles. Why 109? 108 representing the beads of a Japamala, and the 109th is the Meru or Sumeru. And it is in this book that meanings, explanations, traditions, etymology, quotations, narratives, stories drawn from Vedas, Upanishads, Smritis, Puranas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Gita, Yoga, Tantra, Vaishnavism, Shaivism, Shaktism are all given. It's not a very voluminous book, but a delight to read. I've gone through many pages of it. Lot of explanations of Om have been given with quite a good mastery on Sanskrit. In the last slide, I have something more to say about this very book. Let's go to the next and last slide. Nityananda Mishra, who I believe is an IT professional, MBA from IIM Bangalore or so. He's fully into a profession, but his sanskaras, his background, maybe family background, somewhere from Uttar Pradesh, and his exposure from childhood, etc., has made him, amidst all his professional responsibility, he has written several books, and one of them is an amazing work on Om, Pearls on Om. He has selected from poems, plays, works on music and Ayurveda. And he has touched upon the use of Om in yogic breathing and meditation. He has also mentioned briefly Om in Jainism, Buddhism. In Buddhism, they have a mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. I meditate on the jewel in the lotus of my heart. Over there is Om. In Sikhism, you know, the whole holy work begins with Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Satnam Karta Purak. Ek Onkar, Onkar. And in that sense, this book, Om Mala, is a mini encyclopedia on Om. There is so much that is said, and whatever I have shared or whatever Nityananda Mishra shares in his book, all can then be gone into skies, to what you call it, sky is the limit. We can go more and more into Omkara. Numerous are the applications, both outside and inside, I would say. Of course, it works outside by making you more creative. Then in an outer situation, maybe handling relationships, handling a machine, handling some problem of the material world. Once your mind and body are sharpened, you will definitely do much better than otherwise. Let me pause here and go to the next part. Om Namah Shivaya. While doing dhyana, is it necessary to chant Om is the question. I would say Om is highly recommended. However, if anybody for any reason finds the practice of Omkara, the chanting of Omkara, not so effective, not so elevating, not so helpful to him or her, that's where other mantras have come into the picture. So one is told, all right, then please use this other mantra, please use another mantra. Some people actually even have a hesitation about saying Om because they say it's too sacred. Then they have said, say Hari Om. Hari, Harihi is like an adapter. When you can't directly get into Om, first say Harihi, and then even if you are a bit unfit otherwise, saying Harihi makes you fit. Then you say Om. So I would say it's not necessary, but it is recommended. If you fit into it, then that's the best. But a whole lot, in fact, majority, for various reasons, intellectual, emotional, and so on, are not able to get going with Om. They are more at peace, they are more happy doing Om Namah Shivaya, or just without even Om, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, etc. Therefore, everybody should find out what works out best for them and periodically double check. Maybe you are not finding very helpful at one time, but check again after a year. You may find that, hey, I now like it. I'm so comfortable with Om now. Then get down to Om. That is the idea. I guess in the chat box, that was the only message. So now to say a few words about Mandukya. In just 12 mantras, Mandukya Upanishad dismisses the entire plurality. It says Om alone is the truth. Om alone is what appears as the waking state, what appears as the dream, and without appearing anything as anything, it is in this deep sleep state, the pure self. So with adequate prior study of the Vedanta and with our mind made sharp by upasanas, when we study Mandukya Upanishad, we actually go for completely out of box solutions to all our problems. Someone shared a nice thought this morning with me that in life, it's not so much about what we get, but it is about how we inwardly see ourselves. So true. People who get big house, big car, name, fame, traveling to a lot of places, being garlanded, honored, etc. They get a lot of things, but yet they are unhappy inside. You have a number of people like that. Anybody would envy them from a distance. But if you get close to them, they are unhappy about something or the other. So like that quote which someone shared with me, so nicely put, more than what we get, it is how we perceive ourselves. If you take this to a height, that's where Vedanta comes in. Vedanta dismisses, I would repeat, the entire universe. What we were, what we are, what we will be. Normally we are bothered about this. We think about what we were, then compare it with what we have now become. Say our golden days were in the 80s. Now I am at the bottom. I'm in a pit now, etc. Don't you find people saying this? Or they think either have rosy picture about future or some dark picture. At this rate, 5 years down the road, I will be in deep trouble, etc. Come on. All that you can erase with the Vedantic insight. I was, I am, and I will be Sat-Chit and nothing else. In waking, dream, and deep sleep, I am Sat-Chit. I don't go from waking to dream to deep sleep. Waking, dream, and deep sleep appear. In fact, I appear as the entire waking state. I appear as the entire dream state. I appear, there's nothing to appear really. I am the pure self in the deep sleep state. These states come and go. I don't go anywhere. For time itself comes and goes. Space itself appears and vanishes. I am the Adhisthana, the substrate for space, time, and everything that happens in space, time. But all this can look very high and, inaccessible to some of you. Therefore, as competent teachers lovingly caution us, don't just try to hang on some statements of the Vedas, Vedantas. Attend classes, discuss, get clearer and clearer understanding. Are these all just some words in the air to make you happy? Or is that a truth? When physicists said the earth does not act as the center of the universe, it is the sun around which the earth goes. Was it just to give us some happy feeling or something like that? They were telling us the truth. And the truth doesn't stop with earth and the sun, or the sun and the galaxy and etc. The truth doesn't stop with even Einstein. The truth doesn't stop with even quantum physics, Max Planck or Heisenberg or all of those people. The highest truth is the truth of Mandukya Upanishad. The highest truth is where our intelligence reaches its acme, climax, in the supreme intelligence of the Vedanta student. He or she experiences eternal liberation. I'm calling it eternal because they see that they were always free. They were free, they are free, and they will be free. For the very idea that we are caught in time goes to smithereens. We are not caught in time. That is the misconceived ego which is caught in time. Our true nature is not caught in time. Time, rather, is an illusion that appears upon our true nature. This is conveyed using a certain technique in the Mandukya Upanishad. A is waking state, U is dream, is sleep. Then, for the sake of saying a fourth one, amatra. Om is made of three matras, A, U and Then amatra is the silence. So as a model, as a temporary model to be taken away when the student rises to a certain understanding, these are given. So the model being presented is called adhyaropa, deliberate superimposition. And the model then dismantled is the apavada, subsequent negation, or it's called retraction. You retract. You present, then you retract. And through that two-step procedure called prakriya, that's called Mula Bhuta Prakriya. Adhyaropa apavadau Vedanteshu Mula Prakriya. Then there are so many other prakriyas, 5 koshas and 3 bodies and many other. So even this Avastatraya is a variation of basic Adhyaropa Apavada. Deliberately introducing a model and helping you see things which you did not see before, then that model is withdrawn. So here we are, Mandukya Upanishad, in very few words, just 12 mantras, takes us to the very high ground, provided we are ready. So we can probably have another time a session on the teachings of Mandukya Upanishad. There we can work a little on the plain ground and then go higher. Here it's difficult to define the terms and then develop further and so on. Okay.